Alrighty, so it is our last Friday for this round of Yoga for Vital Bones. We're gonna revisit the same sequence, but it's a new Friday. It's a new you. So I want you to explore from where you are today, being really conscious of what you're capable of today, mentally, physically, spiritually. All that comes to play every time we come to a yoga practice. So let's start in a seated position. And if you have a blanket or a pillow or something to sit on, I usually take my blanket and I roll it up in thirds to give it a little bit of a lift. So you have a little seat. And what that's going to do is when you find your cross-legged position, if that's comfortable for you, then your hips will be maybe either as high as your knees or maybe a little higher. So it allows to some extent to release some of that gripping that we get from sitting so much. But if cross-legged is not comfortable for you, you can always sit on your shins, maybe on a couple of blocks, like a little saddle. That's often comfortable for the back, especially. Or if you want to sit in a chair, some of you don't have your cameras on right now, and I really encourage you to turn on your cameras. We can, I don't have to see every bit of you, but it'd be nice to see faces or something just to know you're out there. But I understand sometimes it's not accessible to have your video on. So let's draw our attention inward a bit here. So finding the comfortable seat that works for you, finding the pelvic bowl rising up so that you're not spilling out the back, like rounding to the back, or spilling out the front, filling to the forward. Seeing if you can keep that upright, the lower belly drawing in and up. And the arms are going to be out to the side, either palms down, palms up, or in your lap, something that feels comfortable for your shoulders, your rib cage feels open and lofted here. Lower belly draws in and up, so secure the base of the spine, and then migrate the spine forward a little bit in the body so the back body's enlivened and engaged. Feels a little bit more like a regal stance with your heart open, finding space for the neck to rise up out of the collarbones, balancing the ears over the shoulders. Turn your gaze down your nose. Turn your attention to your breath coming in and out of your nostrils. And then notice temperature change, maybe the cooler air coming in through your nostrils. Maybe warmer air exiting your nostrils. Noticing your body engaging in the breath cycle. So the rib cage is expanding out on the inhales. And maybe on the exhales, you feel a little bit taller and longer through the spine. Just arriving here on your mat, in your body. And the next inhale, raise your gaze up, being aware of your place in the room. And then we'll begin to move a little bit with the breath. So taking your left hand out to the side, either fingertips down or heel of the hand down. Right arm's going to come up and over, reaching up to the fingertips. Make space in the neck and the shoulder, and breathe along the right side of your body. So again, feel the rib cage expand on the inhales, and the spine get longer on the exhales. And the gaze is steady, the breath is smooth. And then keeping the left hand there, right hand comes over and dangles, letting your left ear drop closer to the shoulder. So you're tractioning that neck space from the jaw to the shoulder along the collarbones, breathing here. And then exhaling, dropping the chin slightly forward, reaching over to the other side. Reaching up through your left fingertips. Keep space in the neck and the collarbones. Keep rooted through that left sit bone, lifting up through the belly. Rib cage expanding on the inhales, spine elongating on the exhales. And then keeping that right hand there. Left hand comes over and dangles, dropping your right ear closer to your shoulders. You let traction in the neck space. You can fill the lungs fully underneath the collarbones. Exit fully as you fully breathe out through the nose. And then exhaling, dropping the chin slightly forward, bringing your spine back up to neutral, ears over your shoulders, pausing here. Next inhale reaches the hands out to the side wall, bring the hands overhead, gazing up as you touch the palms. Exhale, reach the hands out and down, touching down at the bottom of the exhale and pause. Inhale, flipping the palms, moving the gaze and the arms all the way up. And exhaling out and down. And go ahead and explore that with your own breath cycles, your own pace. Noting the pauses at the top of the inhale and the pause at the bottom of the exhale. And completing the one you're on, and do one more after that. And then keeping the spine nice and long, you're going to choose a knee to leverage a twist. First, your left hand comes behind you onto the floor or the block behind you, so you're not leaning back. Choosing a knee and turning towards your left, you're going to turn belly, then heart, then chin. Gently gaze over your left shoulder, keeping the spine nice and vertical and the breath deep, expanding the rib cage on the inhales and lengthening the spine on the exhales. And keeping the hands where they are, next inhale looks over to your right. Keep this breath steady, the gaze steady, the spine long. And then inhaling, releasing that twist and just pausing for a moment and letting your body absorb that twist. And then turning to the second side, your right hand comes behind you without leaning back, choosing a knee to leverage the twist. And then turning belly gently, heart gently, chin gently, gazing over your right shoulder. Keep rooted through the legs, lifting up through the lower belly, letting that diaphragm moving the rib cage with the breath cycles. And then keeping the hands where they are. Next inhale looks over your left shoulder. Spine is long, breath is deep. It's all about the breath, really focusing on that breath through the nose. Noticing the tissues in your rib cage and accessory muscles expanding and contracting with each breath cycle. And then inhale, releasing that twist and pausing for a moment and absorbing that. And then let's interlace the fingers, press the palms away and lift the hands up overhead. Lift from the elbows up to the wrists, keep space in the neck and the shoulders. You're not hiking the shoulders up to the ears. Lift the belly to the spine, back to the spine, and then leaning over to the left side. So you're rooted through the legs, lifting up through the wrists, breathing here. And inhale, coming back to center. Exhaling over to the other side. Keep rooted through the left sit bone. Breathing here. And then inhale, coming back up to center. Exhale, release the hands. Bring them behind you and interlace the fingers. Draw the knuckles down. Lift the hands away from your spine as far as that'll work for you. And then either dropping the chin or lifting the chin. Finding more productive space to move that rib cage out under the armpits. Drawing in with the exhales, filling the lungs fully. Exhaling the lungs fully. And then inhale, coming back up to center position with your chin, releasing your hands and pausing here. We're going to come off of the seat, whatever you're sitting on. We'll take that away. We'll bring the legs forward. We'll keep the right leg straight and bend the left knee up and bring the heel up as close as you can to your upper body. And we're going to pause there for a moment and then pressing down. I'm going to switch mats because this is too dark, I think, to see what I'm doing. So we're going to press down through the left heel. Reach through the, press down to the left heel. Reach through the right heel. There we go. And then hugging it up close to your rib cage. Keep the spine nice and long. And we're going to take another twist here, just in a different orientation to the pelvis. So we're going to take the right elbow across the front of the left knee. Left hand comes behind you, fingertips down, keeping the spine up close to the inner thigh. And then gently turning belly, heart, and chin, gazing over your left shoulder. Press down through that left foot. Like if you had to, you'd stand right up onto that foot. You're going to reach through the right heel, draw those toes up again as if you were standing on that leg. Breathing here. And then inhale, looking forward first. Exhale, untwisting second. And let's straighten the left foot down. Draw the right heel back up. So same thing. The foot is separated from the thigh, hugging it up close to your rib cage, like it's your buddy right up there. Reaching through your left heel, press down through your right foot, and then swinging your left elbow in front of the shin. Take your right hand behind you without leaning back and turning belly, heart, and chin, gazing over your right shoulder. And the spine stays nice and long as you stamp that right foot down to the floor and you reach through the left heel. Drawing the toes wide on both feet. And then inhale, looking forward first. Exhale, release the twist. Straighten the legs. And we're going to make our way down to the floor onto our backs. So gently make your way down there. Nice. And once you get down there, you'll straighten your legs, reaching through the heels as if you're standing tall, backed up against a wall. So feel the back of the heels on the ground, toes spreading wide, reaching through the soles of the feet. Maybe the calves or the thighs or the buttocks feels like it's backed up next to a wall. Adjusting your hips and your shoulders so your spine is long and neutral. Maybe the shoulder blades are pressed against the floor. And then keeping that left leg straight, draw your right knee straight up the center line and hold on to the front of the shin or the kneecap. And you draw that knee up as far as it works for you. Keeping the foot engaged, with the bent knee. You're spreading the toes, reaching through both heels, breathing here. So taking a few breaths, and every exhale, you draw it a little bit closer, just kind of sussing out the range of motion in the hips. There's a lot of tissues in the hips. We're trying to just engage with them, conscious effort, breathing here. And then keeping that right hand on the shin, take your left hand out to the side for balance and rotate the right hip out to the side a bit. So keeping the left hip grounded. If you need to, you can place your left hand on top of the left hip point. So you're kind of keeping the pelvis grounded to the floor, or keep it out to the side for balance. As you rotate that hip out in the hip socket, noticing what that feels like. Reaching through the right heel, reaching through the left heel. Breathing. And then inhale, rotating it back to the center position. Release that right knee, let the leg come down to meet the left, and pause and notice, letting the body absorb those sensations. And then drawing your left knee up to the center line, hugging it with both hands in front of the kneecap or the shin. Reaching through both heels, still pretending as if you're standing tall, right backed up next to a wall. Drawing the knee close to the chest, breathing here. And then holding on to that kneecap with your left hand, let your right hand either come out to the side for ballast, or place the right hand on top of your hip point to keep the pelvis neutral, and you're rotating that left hip as you externally rotate that hip out to the side, reaching through the left heel, spreading the toes, breathing here. And then inhale, rotating back to the center position. Exhale, release the left foot down to meet the right, and pausing there for a moment. Just noticing left side and right side, front side, back side, letting the ankles release. And then go ahead and raise one arm overhead and turn in that direction to come onto your belly. Let's come onto our bellies. Once you get onto your belly, you'll bring your hands underneath your shoulders or slightly back further so that the elbows are up like grasshopper wings off the floor. Your toes are together, pressing the toes into the floor. And then you'll lift the nape of the neck, lift the chest forward, coming into a bit of a cobra pose, drawing the elbows back, lengthening through the toes. So you're reaching toward the bottom of your mat or further beyond that with the toes. Reach forward with the crown of the head. Feel how much weight you're using the hands with, and see if you can rely more on the back body a bit, with the hands becoming lighter and you're drawing the shoulder blades together or toward each other at least. Elbows drawing back, strengthening the spine, broadening the collarbones. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, lower the chin down. Release the hands next to your body, palms facing up. And then coming into locust pose, you lift the soles of the feet off the floor first. Lift the nape of the neck off the floor. Let's keep the back of the hands on the floor for a moment. Let's bring the back of the hands on the floor. Palms are facing up. Toes are lifting off the floor. Nape of the neck lifting off the floor. Collarbones stay broad. The shoulder blades are on the back of the ribs, sliding down towards your hips. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, slowly lower back down, chin towards the floor. We'll repeat that. We're going to lift the soles of the feet off the floor, lift the nape of the neck off the floor as you inhale, and then lift the palms off the floor, reaching the palms to the ceiling. Collarbones are broad, shoulder blades on the back of the ribs. Lengthening through the spine, breathing here. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, lowering all the way to the floor. And then go ahead and release there. Bring the hands behind you. Either interlace the fingers and draw the knuckles towards your heels, or maybe you bend your elbows and place the hands in fists and the knuckles are touching behind your back. Or maybe you hook the thumbs or hold onto your shirt. Somehow connect the hands behind your back. And then lifting the soles of the feet off the floor, lift the nape of the neck off the floor and draw the collarbones broad. If your fingers are interlaced, you're reaching the knuckles toward your heels. Breathing through the chest, front body, back body, side body, breathing. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, slowly lower down. We'll do one more variation. The hands come forward, but out to the side. So you bring your hands in cactus arms. So the elbows are bent at 90 degrees, shoulder height. Palms are flat down to the floor. Separate the legs out wide. And then one last, you lift the soles of the feet off the floor, lift the nape of the neck and the arms, the shoulders. It's like you're skydiving, lifting, spreading the toes, spreading the fingers, breathing. Long, deep inhales, long, deep exhales. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, coming back down. Legs come together, hands under your shoulders. You'll tuck your toes, lift yourself up, coming to a child's pose, gentle child's pose. So either the knees will be together or they'll be apart. Maybe the hips come back towards the heels. Maybe they stay upward. The head could be on the floor, or maybe you get a block and place it under your head. Lengthening either all the way to the fingertips, or maybe the hands come back alongside you like they were in locust pose and the palms are up. Find what works for you. Settling the breath, breathing here. And then on your next inhale, you'll bring yourself up to hands and knees. Palms under the shoulders, knees under the hips. You need a little extra cushion under the knees. Go ahead and place a blanket under there, something that makes it comfortable. Toes are drawing back. We'll do just a little tiny cat-cow here. So you're just moving the pelvis in this sense. So your tailbone goes up, dropping the belly. Exhale, tailbone goes down, lift the belly to the spine. So just little pelvic tilts. Inhale, tailbone going up. Maybe you gaze to the ceiling. Exhale, rounding, tucking the tailbone. Just really gentle, moving the vertebra with the breath. Nice. And then completing the breath cycle that you're on, and come back to a neutral hands and knees again. We'll step that left foot back behind you, press into the ball of the foot, reaching through the heel. Ground the left hand, take your right hand forward, face the palm to the center, roll the shoulder away from the ear. Lift that belly to the spine and then push the left foot off the floor to hip height, reaching and elongating. Keep the back of the neck long so the gaze is down to your left thumb or something toward the floor right below your face. So you're not hiking the neck up at all. Breathing here. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, bring the right hand down below your shoulder, but take the left foot across the mat over to the right side, off the mat onto the floor. Inhale the left hand to the ceiling as you turn to the left, and then exhale, reach the left hand towards the front of the mat. So you're balancing on your right hand, right knee, and left foot. And the left foot is off center, so you find that balance between the foot and the knee. So you're not on a balance beam. Breathing here. And then inhale, reach the left hand to the ceiling again. Exhale, turn back towards the mat. Hand and knee comes back to hands and knees. Nice. Step that right foot back behind you. Press into the ball of the foot, reaching through your heel. Keep the right hand down and lift your left hand forward, palm facing the center of the mat, rolling the shoulder away from the ear. Lift the belly to the spine and push the right foot off the floor to hip height. Reaching and elongating. Connecting to the floor beneath you. Back of the neck is long, so you're gazing down to the right thumb. Breathing here. Spreading the fingers, spreading the toes. Take one more inhale here. Exhale the left hand down to the floor, then turn the right leg comes across the mat off to the left side off your mat. Turn towards your right and inhale the right hand to the ceiling, and then exhale, reach the right hand towards the front of the mat. So the feet are off center from one another. So you find the balance between the two. And you're reaching overhead, breathing here. And then inhale, reaching the right hand to the ceiling again. Exhale, turn back towards the mat, hands and knees. And then we'll tuck our toes and lift the legs off for high plank. So both knees come off, or maybe you do one leg at a time. So you're lifting the body in a straight line, reaching through the heels, pressing the palms, lifting up through the belly, broadening the collarbones, straight body, breathing here. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, bend both knees to the floor and take one more child's pose here. So leaning back towards the hips. Either the hands stay forward, you're pressing the finger pads into the floor, or maybe the arms come back alongside your body. Breathing here. Feeling for the breath along the back side of the body. Feel how the rib cage expands from the spine around to the front. And then inhale, coming back up to hands and knees. Palms are spreading wide, so you feel the webbing between your fingers spreading. You're going to tuck your toes, lift your hips, come into a downward facing dog. And once you're in downward dog, you're going to press the palms into the floor, letting the head dangle between the arms. Lift the tailbone way up behind you and maybe pedal it out a bit, bending one knee at a time. Reach the opposite heel towards the floor. And then on your next exhale, bend your knees, look between your hands, step or walk your feet forward between your hands, bending your knees and getting all your weight down to your feet. Long spine, you push through the legs, bring yourself up, straight spine, reaching overhead. And exhale back, hands to the side for your mountain pose and pausing here. So finding that mountain pose. Feet are either toes touching or slightly apart, feeling the groundedness through the toe side and the heel side. So even exaggerate that, maybe rolling out to the side or rolling into the center. We all have sort of a pattern that we follow. See if we can engage more consciously and evenly through the feet. Big toe and pinky toe mound, inner and outer heel. As we do our yoga practice, we become more aware of our patterns and we can consciously modify them for a moment or two. Notice what's happening in the knees. Is there space in the knees? suppleness as you're pressing through the feet. You can feel maybe the upper legs engaging if the knees are more open and receptive and not cutting it off if they're extended. Draw the sit bones toward one another, pubic bone and tailbone draw toward one another, lift the lower belly. Migrate that spine forward, like that regal sense of lifting the front sternum, heart forward, collarbones broad. Feeling the weight in the wrists and the fingers. Ears are balanced over the shoulders. We're bearing weight against gravity just by standing long and tall. And then keeping the feet grounded, we're going to bring the hands out to the side a bit, bend the knees over the toes, and as you come into a seated position, the hands come overhead or forward a bit, so they don't have to be straight up. They could be forward a bit. Coming into your chair pose. Keep the balance in the feet, the toes, the heels, lifting the lower belly. Feel the upper legs engaged and the weighted the presence of the wrists and the fingers. Breathing here. And then pushing through the feet. Inhale, straighten the legs, reach the hands out by your side. Pausing there. And do that one more time, waking up the legs, sinking back, arms make their way overhead. Find your chair pose, lifting the chest, the belly draws back, tailbone heavy, balance between the toes and the heels, still pressing the feet down and away so the legs are engaged. Collarbones broad, breath is soft and smooth. And then pushing through the feet, inhale, reach to the ceiling. Exhale, hands come back down by your side. Nice. Hands come to your waist. You're going to find a balance pose. So maybe you come to a support system, or maybe we can do it pretty gently. Shifting your weight over to your right foot. You're going to bend your left knee up and out. Bring the heel above the ankle. Toes are on the ground for a moment. And then you can play with maybe lifting the toes off the floor or bringing the foot flat onto the upper, above the ankle into the calf or the side of the calf, or maybe all the way up into the inner thigh. It's an option. So either above or below the knee, either holding a support system or not, or playing around with releasing from the support system. Engaging the legs, maybe changing the center of gravity by moving the hands into a different position above the waist, either at the heart or above into the air. Feeling for the wiggles in the legs and the feet, the toes. Responding to those. Take one more inhale here. We're going to bring the bent knee forward and exhale, let that left foot come back down. Nice. Okay, second side, shifting gently from your mountain over to one side. One leg takes the grounding, bending the right knee up and out, externally rotating that hip, and it throws you off center, right? By doing that knee out to the side. Connecting the foot into the ankle kind of gives you that sense of where the center line is. Where are you balancing over? Maybe the foot stays above the ankle. Maybe it comes into the calf. Maybe all the way up into the inner thigh. Pressing down and rising up. Choosing maybe to change the hand position. Breathing here. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, hands back to the waist. We'll inhale the bent knee forward. Exhale, foot comes back down for your mountain pose. Nice. Okay, let's separate the feet out wide as you can. So maybe they are as wide as your wrists are if your hands are out to a T. We're going to turn, I'll mirror you. We'll turn the right toes toward the right, left toes in, bending into that knee and keeping it over the ankle. So try not to go past the ankle. And if you're not quite at the ankle, maybe you challenge a little bit further, separating the legs. Feeling rooted through the feet. So you still have your mountain pose feet. So the feet are flat on the floor as best you can. The neck, they're challenged with angles and trajectories of forces coming down onto them. And then the hands come up to a T for warrior two. Feel the connection between the ankle, the knee, the hip. They should all be working evenly. The knee usually takes the brunt of this, so we want to keep the knee happy. Make any changes to the angle of your left foot that might feel better for any of those joints. And checking out the bend in the right knee. Gazing over your right fingertips for a moment. Holding the shape, finding the places where your body's working hard to keep the shape. Notice what might not be working at all. See if you can work with the torso, the legs, the arms, keeping the breath smooth. Take one more inhale here. And exhale, left hand's going to come to the waist as we hinge over that right leg. And either the forearm comes to the thigh or hand to the thigh. So trying not to round over, to keeping both sides of the spine long. Maybe the hand is on the thigh. There you go. And then maybe that upper arm, the back arm rather, comes up in an angle. Breathing here. So we're challenging the joints in a different direction, or weight bearing in a different level as we shift the weight forward into the right hip. Keep pushing back through that left heel. So you're still engaged with that leg, feeling the connection from the left pinky toe all the way up the side body to the left pinky finger. And then pushing through the feet. Inhale, coming up through warrior two. Straightening that right leg. Let's pivot the feet over to the other side. Bending into your left knee. Now, different side, different story. Take the bend. Keep rooted and grounded. So one set of toes is facing forward. The other one is slightly at an angle. And the angle is meted out depending on what the ankle and the knee and the hip all want to do together. Gazing over your left fingertips. Breathing here. Strong legs, strong arms, strong torso. Lifting the lower belly, having the tailbone be heavy so the pelvis is still upright. The gaze is steady, the breath is deep and smooth. Take one more inhale here. And exhale, the right hand comes to the waist, hinging over, and either the hand comes down on the thigh or the forearm down to the thigh, as long as you can keep both sides of your spine long. We're trying not to take a rounded curve there. And then the other arm reaches up at an angle. So this is side angle pose. The right side of your body is at an angle. Breathing here. Push down to that right heel and lift up through the inner ankle so the foot stays as flat on the floor as possible. Keep rooted through the front big toe. Sometimes it rolls over to the pinky side. Keep drawing that left knee out. Breathing here. And then inhale, coming up through warrior two. Let's straightening the leg, turn the toes toward the side, hands to the waist. Nice. And then we'll slowly bring the feet a little bit closer, heel toe the feet just slightly closer. So they're pretty wide. So when you have your hands out to a T, they're dropped down below your elbows. So you can test the distance for that. We're going to turn once again over to the right, left toes in slightly. Keeping the legs straight this time, arms are out to a T. We'll come into triangle pose. Take a big inhale here. Exhale, hinging over, keeping the spine long. You're tipping over, maybe the left hand weights on the waist, and then connect the hand either on the thigh, the knee, the shin, depending on the trajectory in the hips, right? So this back hip is kind of rotating forward. The front hip is hinging into that hip socket, pushing the feet down and away. So depending on the mobility in your hips, you could go as far as you can keep the spine long. And then maybe that upper hand reaches to the ceiling. And it doesn't have to, that's just option. Strong legs, you're stretching the mat away from each other, between your feet. And then pushing through the feet, inhale, coming up, arms go wide. Pivot the feet over to the other side, keeping that distance. Toes, left toes toward the left, right toe slightly in. Inhaling here and exhale, hinging over. Once again, the front hip hinges over. You're going to touch down on your thigh, your knee. The backhand could wait on the waist as you negotiate that connection point. The hip hinging, keeping both sides of your spine nice and long. Try not to use the curve of the spine to get the hand any lower. We're just hinging in the hips. And then maybe reaching straight up to the ceiling. Maybe keeping the hand on the waist. Feel the feet pressing down and away. And then pushing through the feet. Inhale, coming up, arms go wide. Exhale, hands to the waist and the feet are parallel for a moment. And then we're going to turn the toes out to the side. Both toes go out, heels slightly in. We can release the hands. Inhale, reach the hands overhead. Exhale, bend the knees over the toes, cross the arms and push through the feet. Inhaling up, keep the spine long, chest is lifted. Exhale down, chest is lifted, hinge at the hips. Nice. Inhaling up. Exhale down. Inhale up. And this exhale will hang out in our squat. So wherever that is, however far it works for you, maybe the hands are on the thighs. Maybe the forearms make it to the thighs. Maybe the elbows make it to the knees. Whatever works for your body, your joints, adjusting the distance between the feet so your knees are happy. Lifting the chest, strong, buoyant legs, balanced feet, steady breath, steady gaze, absorbing the shape. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, release back down to the floor, finding your way to the seated position. Nice. And once you're there, soles of the feet together, knees are out. Nice. And then checking in with that pelvic bowl, we talked about having it upright at the beginning. So if it's spilling out the back, maybe sitting up on a blanket towards the bottom of the tailbone might be helpful to keep the pelvic bowl upright. You're going to choose what feels the most balanced for you. And the hands could just come behind you and lift yourself up. So the chest comes forward. Or whether the hands are behind you or maybe the hands are on your ankles or on your feet, the chest is going to lean forward. The whole spine is migrating forward. All one piece, not rounding up in the upper body. The front of the belly to the chin stays in one long line, so you're not collapsing that connection between the chin and the belly. So breathing long and deep. Pressing the feet together. You can open them like a book, working on ankle mobility a bit. So the pinky toes stay together and the big toes roll apart a bit. Find the inhales expanding the rib cage and the exhales lengthening the spine. Absorbing this shape. And then inhale, coming back up to a vertical position. I'm going to bring the knees up. We're going to make our way down to the floor. You roll over to one side and lie down onto your back again. Nice. Once you get down to your back, the feet will be hip distance apart, knees are bent, feet are up close to your hips. Adjusting your hips and your shoulders so your spine is neutral. Arms are alongside your body, and bend your elbows. Place your palms facing each other like you're holding an imaginary block in front of your belly. We're going to press into the feet evenly, press into the arms evenly, and lift the tailbone off the floor. Maybe you rock the elbows and shoulders a little closer so you're more up onto the top of the back of the shoulder blades, or the very top of the shoulder blades, rather. And you're pressing down, spreading the fingers, spreading the toes, evenly pressing down and rising up. Using the back body to lengthen the front body, breathing. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, slowly lower down. Release the hands and separate the feet out a little wider to the edge of your mat. The arms can go out wide. Take an inhale here. Exhale, let both knees fall over to one side. Gaze in the opposite direction from where your knees fell. Inhale, bringing the knees up. Exhale, turn your knees over to the other side, gazing in the opposite direction from there. So go ahead and move like that with your breath. The inhales coming up, gazing to the ceiling. Exhale, knees over to one side, gaze in the other direction. Back and forth, rocking on your sacrum, your skull. Rocking from the big toe side of your foot to the pinky toe side of the other foot. Back and forth up through the ankles, the knees, the hips, the low back, mid back, upper back. The next time you come over to your left-hand side, you're going to pause with your knees over to the left. Push a little bit through your right heel. Maybe the left ankle comes on top of the right thigh. That's optional if you want a little extra weight to internally rotate that right hip. If that doesn't feel right, you don't do that. Gaze to the ceiling and just release into the shape, breathing here. And releasing the left foot to the edge of the mat if it's on your thigh. Inhale, bring both knees up. Exhale, let the knees come over to the other side. Once you're there, you push a little bit through the left heel, maybe right ankle on top of the left thigh, internally rotating, breathing here. And then releasing that right foot down to the edge of the mat. If it's on your thigh, inhale, bring the knees up. Exhale, straighten the legs out wide, maybe wider than your mat. Arms are out wide. Adjusting your hips and your shoulders so your spine is neutral and evenly supported. Palms are up, fingers are gently curling, and you're releasing the full weight of your body into the floor beneath you. Sorry, my dog is barking. And then either staying here for your Shavasana or making any adjustments to come into a comfortable position for your Shavasana. And releasing all the efforts in your body. Release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Release your jaw, release your neck. Release down through your shoulders, through each of your elbows, your wrists, and all your fingers. And let your breath float away as you release down your spine, through your hips, through each of your knees, your ankles, and all your toes. And just take these last few moments in stillness, absorbing all the benefits of today's practice. And begin to deepen your breath. And spread your fingers and toes. And draw your legs together, arms overhead for a nice long stretch. And then bending one knee, roll over to one side if you're on the mat. Pausing there. And using your hands and your arms, gently make your way up to a seated position. And thank you so much for sharing your practice, your energy, and your breath. May your hearts be filled with loving kindness. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be healthy and well nourished. And may you be happy. Namaste. Thanks for coming. I just wanted to say this is our last June Friday. So we're taking July and August off, but we'll be back in September on Friday. And Banyan's going to be sending out over the summer, you'll receive a survey on fitness classes. Like what do you attend? What would you like? What days, times work best for you? So have a look for that and fill it out so they can make the appropriate programming changes and all that. And Mel, did you want to say anything more about that? Oh, I wanted to actually, before you start, if you want to do Vital Bones over the summer, I do teach it on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific. And there's a link in the chat if you want to click on that. It's a Facebook link. If you're not on Facebook, you can just email me at mb@3greencircles and I can get you the Zoom link to join it on Wednesdays if you want to do it during the summer on Wednesdays with me. Or there's recordings you can do too.
Perfect. Thank you. You covered everything. Once again, if you will just please make sure to fill out the survey when we turn it in, with everybody's lives kind of changing as things are opening up. It's helpful for us to get an idea of what the community wants and needs so we can try to work around that. And then, of course, general reminder that we are a nonprofit. We run fully off of private donations. If you have the means to donate any amount, 100% of it goes back into programming so we can continue to have these great offerings and come together in community and tribe and collectively heal together. So you can do that on the website, banyanwomen.org, and there's a donate tab. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Anisha. Thanks, Cecilia. Bye, Marie. Bye, Sharon. Bye, Raquel. Bye, Judy. Bye, Rosabelle.
Thank you, Mary Beth.
You're welcome. See you next week. Terrific, Sharon. That's great to hear. Join me on Wednesdays if you have a chance.